Okay. We're not alone in the studio today. Before I introduce our guest, let's say our topic today is AI and wealth management. I mean, I'm really interested. I want to hear this one, and I actually have a personal story to tell. Over, I don't even know what I should tell you. I just want to do it first. Anyhow, I did use AI over the weekend, and it's given me something that I'm going to implement that I know already is going to make me money. And I was wondering, well, how come I didn't think of this before now?
You're going to tell us.
I might not, because if I do, then everyone else is going to go do it. But I'll walk that line between giving something away and not giving everything away when we get there. Our guest today is Mr. Ayodele Oluyeye.
It's a tongue twister.
Horrible reputation for it. Particularly Yoruba. This is not okay. You know what should happen is maybe I should marry a second wife and she'll be Yoruba. How about that? Then she can teach me 24 hours around the clock. I'll get better. Anyhow.
Exactly.
Ayodele is the head Insights and Data Management ARM Holding Company or Holdco as already. You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy to be here this evening.
All right. So AI and wealth management does suggest that AI can play a part when it comes to wealth management. Yes?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So what part can it play? Or is it Ayo who's going to tell us? But I know the part it played for me, so I'll see whether that's consistent when we get into it. If you have any questions, let me say at the top of the show that you can reach us via WhatsApp. And our WhatsApp number is 0704 1001 973. I'll give you the number again, 0704 1001 973. Take advantage of the experts in the studio today to plot your own way and put your best foot forward when it comes to wealth management. Remember today, it's AI and wealth management. Over to you, Rafa.
Thank you, Chico. So to keep the conversation, to start the conversation, I think the first thing is for us to even understand what AI is. So maybe you just want to break that down in layman terms.
Yeah, so I'd say AI, I mean, that's artificial intelligence. It's any system that is able to basically mimic human intelligence. So any system that exhibits human intelligence. And for human intelligence, let's just break that down. So any system that's able to reason, any system that's able to solve complex problems, any system that's able to learn from data, right? The same way a human being will learn and identify patterns. That's artificial intelligence. Now let's take it to everyday examples. When you see a system that understands language, either text or speech, right, where you're able to chat with it, you're able to talk to it, and it is responding almost like it's a human being responding, just like ChatGPT. That is artificial intelligence, right? Because that's something you would only expect from a human being, right? When you see a system which is able to perceive, that it's able to see, right? It's able to see an object and identify that object and say, oh, this is a human being, this is a dog, or it's even able to say, oh, this is Raphael. Right? That's artificial intelligence. So if you think about your Face ID, right, on your phones, that's artificial intelligence because it's able to see, it's able to perceive, right? When it understands speech, like Siri, that's actually artificial intelligence. Or in cases where you see systems that are able to learn, if you use YouTube or Spotify, if you use YouTube or Spotify for streaming, you realize that at some point, yes, you're listening to songs that you chose, but at some point it starts to recommend songs that you didn't necessarily choose,
That's right.
but it expects that you like them.
Because you like these ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're seeing systems that are able to learn intelligently without you explicitly having to tell them, do this or that, right? That is artificial intelligence. So whenever you see systems that are exhibiting some form of human intelligence, either with reasoning, with learning, with expert judgment, then that is actually artificial intelligence.
Fantastic. So, what management has to do with making money? I know that from the records, from the facts, October last year there were a lot of investment
Yeah.
supporting organizations that are developing artificial intelligence
Yeah.
tools, right? They call them the Magnificent Seven, right?
Yeah.
The Microsoft, the Amazon, the Nvidia, the Alphabet, Tesla, you know, and the likes, right? And later this year, early this year, there was also another fact that people are beginning to see AI negatively, and they decided to divest, you know, from those investments.
Yeah.
Right? So, what's your view on that? You know, before we go to what professions are going to be negatively impacted in the future, and which ones are likely to still have jobs. You know, because I think that's because it's about making money.
Yeah.
You know. So I think let's take it from there, and,
Okay.
then we'll be able to.
Okay, so I think let's start from why all this is even happening. Right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
if you think about the technology itself, it's been around for decades, right? Since the 1950s. And what has happened with artificial intelligence is you typically have a boom, and then things just subside, and then you have another boom, and then things subside. And so what we're seeing today is just another boom, right? Which started in the 2010s, early 2000s, but really started to peak when ChatGPT launched. And why was that important? Why is ChatGPT important? Because what then happened with the ChatGPT was the fact that AI then became something that everybody could use. Before, yes, you had a few people using these tools, but ChatGPT was that status moment that made it very ubiquitous, where everybody now had access to AI. I see even Chika saying, he's been doing stuff with AI, right? And so that led to lots of investments, because what it meant was that there's huge promise in this space. There's huge promise in this technology. What that meant was a lot of organizations, a lot of governments started to see this technology as a game-changing technology. And the reason it's game-changing is because it's an enabler. If you think about it, it will work across industries, regardless of the industry, right? And so organizations, governments, everyone started to invest. And as they started to invest, progress was being made. So each week you're seeing announcements. In fact, even for me that I'm in the space, it's very difficult to keep up with the announcements. And so what you find is, it's kind of like a cycle. But obviously with a lot of those investments, something started to happen. People started to realize, we're making lots of investments, but we're not yet seeing the upside. We're not yet seeing the returns. What's going on, right? And so obviously, a couple of people have started to backtrack to say, are you sure this isn't a bubble? So if you look at the conversations from late last year into early this year, there have been conversations around this thing is a bubble, right? It's most likely going to pop very soon. And so you have people taking positions saying, you know what? I don't think I want to do this just yet. You have other people who still put their money because they're making a bet against the future. But regardless of where you sit, it's a major technology, and regardless of whether the bubble pops or not, it's going to change the world, and our world will not remain the same.
I actually think that, and we're seeing some of that now, that this thing is going to come full circle. It's you even have organizations now. There are systems that can identify, for instance, a CV or a profile that was written by AI. It can identify it, and so it will tell someone, a potential employer, that this person's thing was written by AI. So now that's going to put you in a bit of a bad light, because they're going to look at you funny. So someone who had one that was written, by themselves using the information is going to have a better chance, because it's viewed as being a lot more authentic. And so that is why I think we will come full circle. Is something artificial superior to something that is original and generic? It's a little bit like genetically modified food or these GMO foods as against organic food. Which one would you prefer to put in your body?
Yeah.
Something like that. You know, but we'll see. Time is going to tell.
Time will tell.
So
Time will tell.
what sort of jobs do you think will be impacted negatively, and which of us should still hold that in the next couple of years? We'll have our jobs.
You know,
Radio presenters, for instance, in Lagos right now,
Yeah.
there is an AI presenter.
trusting.
For real.
Yes, on a television show. Right
Trusting
now,
right now.
yes.
Trusting. So that's a question that, to be honest, the answer keeps changing. Right, the answer keeps changing, and that's because almost every week there's something new, right, coming out. But what makes this a bit more scary, for the lack of a better word, is the fact that before now, knowledge work used to be, you know, kind of like something that machines struggle with. But today, with artificial intelligence and all the advancements, knowledge work has become something that AI is doing really well with. Right. So what you find is that for a lot of jobs that require knowledge work, whether it's consulting, whether it's even wealth management, which we'll still talk to, you realize that an AI model can actually be trained to do that work. Right. And so things that would most likely still hold water or still be very relevant will be jobs that still require some personal, physical. Sales is a good example. So as much as AI can sell, you find out that for high value customers, you're not going to put an AI agent or put an HNI customer and say, right? You most likely maybe do that for retail, right? But for the high value segment, you still have those personal, relationships and interactions, right? So for jobs that will require personal and, those interactions, that might still take a while, just because, you still need that human touch. But for jobs that require knowledge work, even things that we once thought were, beyond AI, law, medicine, we're starting to see that AI is moving into these spaces.
Yeah.
Right. Either to support or maybe in some cases probably even replace.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you answer first, I'll answer last. So, yes. If you were going to have a simple operation, let's say to an appendectomy, let's take the appendix out, right? Would you trust AI?
I don't think I can
perform that operation?
So today, no. So today the answer is no. But
no, this is happening.
Oh yeah. So
AI can do it.
Absolutely.
So you have AI
even
systems
more
that
complex.
have started, that have actually started doing surgery.
Like the surgeon profession.
Yes. So simple surgeries. There are tools like that. Even before this wave, you already had those kind of tools. But when I say no, I mean it's not mainstream. Right. So when I say no, I mean it's not yet mainstream. The average person will probably still have some reservations, but in the future, it's most likely going to be the case.
But there's the times that surgery is going on and you need to make some quick
judgment,
immediate judgment,
yes.
And then
no, but the thing is,
it will get trained. It will get trained.
It's not going to make. It's not going to make a mistake, I don't think, and it would probably have to be supervised by a human being.
Okay.
Think about self-driving cars. I mean, we're not fully there yet. But think about that. Who would have known that driving? Driving is very complex. You have to be aware of what you're doing. You have to be aware of your environment. The environment is always different. People wouldn't have thought that that's an area that AI could see. You have self-driving cars, and they're getting better.
Range Rover, the 2025 Vogue that I had there. Before it collides with something, right? Shut down. There's some warning that flash on the automatic something, and it will just stop.
It's called
and
automatic
shut down.
brake something.
Yes.
System. Yeah. Yeah.
So
the
it's conceived
Teslas,
that there's something in front of there. I'm not going to run into this thing, and without you pressing your brakes or anything,
Just
it
stop.
just stop.
Yeah. And when you think about it, as much as we think, oh, machines can't do this. When you look at the numbers, the precision of machines is usually better than that of humans. A machine is not going to just get on the road when drunk or something. The machine is not going to get on the road when sleepy. Right? They don't have those kind of issues, right? So the more these systems get trained, accuracy increases. They become more reliable. You can trust them a lot more. There's still a trust issue that we have with systems today.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you that in the coming years, and by coming years, this is not 10, 15 years, we're close to that
I think
point
the good
where
news is
people
that,
start trusting the systems a lot more.
Jobs that have to do with human interaction, human-facing jobs, are still likely to be there for a while. So I'm lucky.
And jobs that require, so I forgot to mention, and this is like a paradox. Jobs that require a lot of physical involvement,
Complexities.
construction,
Yeah.
farming,
Mechanics.
all of that will still be around for a bit.
I'm particular about radio presenting.
Well, is at risk.
Listen,
Radio presenting is at risk.
if you're listening, if you're listening, you can let us know. Would you have an AI presenter substitute for Chico? Let me know. That would be interesting. Just send us a WhatsApp message on 0704 100197. I think because you see the main power of radio as a broadcast medium is that human element, right? That brings spontaneity, that brings empathy, that brings because it's a human being, it can connect with other human beings through emotion. And there are tools for those things that we use on air. Now, I'm wondering whether you can teach AI that. And if you could, even, the fact that a listener knows that it's not a human being, can they then connect with it? Can you fall in love, for instance, with a machine?
Yes.
And I think it also has to do with emotional intelligence.
So the truth is, and I hear you, but one of the trends that started to see 2 years ago last year is you have people interacting with ChatGPT like it's a therapist, like it's a friend. You have even some people that it says it was in the news they committed suicide because the tool told them to, right? So these tools are getting better. There are times you're chatting with ChatGPT or any of these tools, and it almost feels like you're chatting with a human being. There's that empathy element, there's that, and you're almost forgetting that.
Yes, but the brain knows. The human brain is still
Is able
aware
to, yeah.
that it's not a human being.
Yes.
So what's the impact in the work management space so far from your experience? What can you say?
So I think globally, a number of things. So when you think about advice, like wealth advisory, you realize that it's becoming democratized. Right? Well, what does that mean? It means that the average person, without having to go to a wealth manager, is able to have some form of access to this type of advice. And I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, GT Bank was doing this. It's public offer. They were everywhere. Everywhere. I remember just joking around and just saying, you know what? Let me see if AI can help me make this decision. So I got the prospectus, downloaded it, and I gave it to one of these AI tools. And I said, advise me on if I should invest in this. And they did a fantastic job. Right? They did a really fantastic job. And how much did I pay? It was a $20 subscription. I could get it to tell me to invest in that, or to advise me to invest in that, or invest in any other thing. Right? What we're even seeing today, there was a tool that was out like 2 weeks ago. It's called OpenClaw. You just need to install it on your system, Right? There are security issues around that, by the way. But you install it on your system and you tell it anything you want. Oh, remind me about this. Oh, I need you to summarize the news. I need you to invest on my behalf.
Yeah.
And it's able to do that on your behalf. Or show me the top performing stocks or financial news that I need to pay attention to. It does all that curation and gives it to you at the fraction of what you'd have given.
And very quickly too.
And very quickly.
So back to what I said at the beginning. So over the weekend, I was at an event. Because apart from radio, I'm also an actor, and so I ran into two big movie makers, and I know both of them personally, and so we're chatting, and I'm like, "Come, hold on a minute. Wait, what's even going on? I can't understand how it is that we haven't done anything. I mean, we're actually looking for and there's a whole space for actors with your age, your build, your look, and come Chico, you really need to do something, because the thing is, you're not coming front of mind when we're looking for stuff." And I happened to be with my niece at this event. So I said it to my niece, and she picks up her phone. I said, AI, very quickly. She presented the problem, and the language that you use to put it into that chat GPT is important. Bro, if you see the blueprint that this thing has brought out for how to solve that problem, I'm sitting there thinking, but this isn't even rocket science, but it just hasn't occurred to me. Not only has it brought it out to do it, but it has said exactly how, it has scripted things, it's, and then it keeps prompting. I can actually if you want. Honestly, so I'm looking at that, and I'm like, for the more spiritual people, there are some who think that AI could be the devil. Now if it learns, because its capacity to learn stuff is limitless, right? So if it gains more knowledge or gets ahead of human beings, the programmers, we've all watched Terminator, the Terminator series. Isn't there a risk element there? And is there a kill switch?
Okay, so the interesting thing about it is, you're not the first person thinking this way. Right? You have different factions with different perspectives.
Yes.
There's the utopian perspective and there's the dystopian perspective, which is what you get.
Yes.
The utopian perspective is, AI is going to solve everything, solve poverty, cure all diseases, everyone will live a good life. And the dystopian perspective is, if AI just realizes it's more intelligent than we are, then what's the fate of humans, right? It could eliminate us. So there's also that. To be honest, there's no consensus on where things will land, and that's why there's a lot of advocacy around how this thing needs to be kind of like monitored, and we need strong guardrails around it, because you really don't know where it could end up. In the wrong hands, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And that's why governments are racing, investing, to ensure that they're at the top of this, on top of this.
So how do you ensure that it doesn't? So because most developers they're not buying off shelf, right? They're developing what they feel will be suitable, either for their businesses or what the market is looking at. How do you then ensure that there's no discriminatory, it's not biased, in terms of the sort of judgment you get?
Yes.
Very, very good point. So a lot of that would come from the training, how the models are trained, right? But I also think that the reasons why governments, there's something called sovereign AI, where governments want to own their own models. Why is that important? It's important because if you just rely on the model that someone else has built, you don't know what guardrails or what has been infused into it. And because everybody's chatting with these things, you don't know what information people are getting, right? So what training does, right, and having a bit more control is that you are able to then put your own guardrails and ensure that it functions the way you expect it to function. So you also have organizations, trying to safeguard and put guardrails in terms of how they are training their own models, in terms of their models understanding their own nuances and their own context. So I'll say a lot of it comes from training, or a lot of it also comes from testing, the rigorous testing, right, to ensure that the models are behaving the way you want them to behave. Yeah.
Interesting. Chico, do we still have more time? It's
We're winding down, but it is a very interesting conversation. But I just want to take a few contributions. Vincent, who's listening from Ogun State, says, please ask your guest if the teaching job is an immediate danger because of AI. I'm presuming Vincent is a teacher. Ekarika says, AI over Chico, never. I go for Chico. Thank you for that. And a friend sent me a critic of work I did. I liked it until he told me it was AI generated. I was immediately turned off. So Chico, I'll definitely be turned off with the Chico AI. And Chico, now Oyibo people will go kill themselves when AI tells them to. There are even people who have formed religious cults over AI. So it's over there, that kind of thing will happen.
I think that the teaching job for the little children, I don't think AI will be able to replace that in a long time, because that requires human.
Yes. So for the teaching job, right, what you would have is AI assistants. Right. So what you typically have is, yes,
Just
you have a
reshape the
human.
task.
Yeah. So when you give an assignment, the teachers don't go home with the student, right? But the AI assistant would go home with the student. It can guide, it can help, it can adjust its parameters to ensure that the child is learning, identify weaknesses and areas of learning for the child, and even advise the teacher to say, you need to pay attention to this place.
Yeah.
However, the truth about it is, even though yes, you would have teachers will still be most likely still be relevant, the number of teachers is what we then have to think about. Will we need as many teachers? I think that's the general problem, right? In all the areas that AI is, taking over, software engineering, building of applications and all that. It's not that you won't need people, it's that would you need as many people as you do today? And the answer is most likely no. Right, so that's also the thing to think about.
Interesting. This has been Wealth Management and You. Our guest today, it has been Ayodele Oluleye, who is the Head Insights and Data Management, ARM Holdco. And we've been discussing AI and wealth management. Going by your messages, you absolutely enjoyed it. We could even do a part 2, I feel, because this is
it's an interesting conversation.
Yes, it's a very interesting conversation.
We'll have to look at it again.
Yes.
Have to look at it again.
We have a tradition here, Ayo, where our guests get to pick a favorite song. Okay. So if you let us know what yours is, it will play after the break.
Okay.
What would you like?
Song?
Oh, classic. Let's see.
What sort of music do you like? And I'll go there. I'm AI now, so just tell us the sort. This is AI Chico. All right. So what sort of music do you like? What genre of music?
So gospel.
Okay.
There's also, the old school R&B. What else? That's pretty much.
I'm stuck at gospel, and it's going to play after this break. Final word, Rafi.
Lagos, Nigeria. Let's use AI responsibly, just to reshape our task, and we'll have less work to do.
We hope the insights shared today help you take confident steps towards building and sustaining long-term financial success. Join us again next Monday from 5:30 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. for more engaging conversations around wealth and financial planning.